So, hi ma'am, here's my video explanation for my laboratory number 1. So here's the demonstration of how of the running code. First, I'm just gonna compile it and then I'm gonna execute the file, and then over here you can see that it outputs the required answer from the as stated in the activity guide. So here's the code for my laboratory number 1. So from line 1 to 16 are just some usual segments in an assembly code, such as from this line 3 to 9 over here are just some initialization for some memory to store some data written in the code, such as this prompt as stated in the activity guide, when the smallest of the 3 consecutive integers, the answer, the first odd number is, the second odd number is, the third odd number is. And then next, for the next segment is just here for reserving some memory space for the data that will be stored in later. The labels here correspond to the values that are to be answered in this problem: the smallest value, the middle value, the largest value, and yeah. And then next here is the segment.text, where all the instructions will be written. Here the ASM main will be identified as global, and it will be where the instructions start. So over here, these lines here are just some setup routine as suggested by the author of the book I'm following. And then in this part for this part are just some printing functions for the printing problem as stated in the activity guide. Over here just prints this message over here, the prompt, and then after that it will print some new line, and then it will print the answer message, and then it will print a new line. Then now starting here is the calculations for what mainly I did for this laboratory exercise. So the problem that was stated on the activity guide can be answered through basic algebra, and from analyzing the problem we can get this kind of equation, and through basic algebraic manipulation we can get this equation that will find the value of x, and we are able to identify these constants, which is 4, 2, and 729. So I'm just assuming that this activity aims to teach us the concepts of very basic arithmetic in assembly. So I just wrote some code that mainly focused on basic arithmetic. So firstly, over here, I just set the value for the EAX register as 4, and then I just multiplied this register to itself, which resulted to 16 as stated here in this equation that I'm basing my calculations on. And then as seen here, it is negative, so I'm just gonna negate the value in the EX register, so it becomes negative 16. And then after that, I'm just gonna add 8 to it, and it will result to this. And this arithmetic operation here just represents this terms here in the equation that I'm following. And then after that, I'm just gonna add 729 as seen here, and then after that it will result to 721. And then once I found out the value of x, I just stored them in the memory space I made here. So first, for the smallest value, we'll just store the value from the EX register, which is the first one, which is 721, and then I'm just gonna add 2 for the in the EAX register, because the middle value or the second consecutive integer is just the 721 plus 2, and then once it's added, I'm just gonna store it to the middle value label in the reserved memory space. Then same goes here, I'm just gonna add 2 because it's the third and last value, or the last consecutive integer, which is the largest one, which is x plus 2 plus 2, and it will just be x plus 4, and then it will result to 725. Then I'm just going to store it to the reserved memory label. And then after that, this code here just prints out the messages as indicated in the activity guide. Here it will just print out the first odd number is, the second odd number is, the third odd number is, and then after that, the values stored in the reserved memory spaces will be moved to the EX registered. Then the value will be printed as shown here. It will print 721. This here will print 725. This here will print 725. And then for here in the last part is just some exit routine from the author as seen in his book. So that would be all.